When you talked about the Palestinians, you said 4 million people. But what the BDS movement, and I think more and more that the Palestinian people in general wants to portray that the Palestinian people are not 4 million. There's the refugees, there is the citizens, Palestinian citizens of Israel. So it comes to a much bigger number. And I think, just to conclude that, the fact that not taking a position on do we want the state of Israel to exist, I think it's not saying that we want to destroy Israel, it's saying that the 20% Israeli Palestinian citizens of Israel have the right to have the same rights than Israelis.
If you look at, for example, when Yasser Arafat declared a state in November 1988, and you read the platform, the political document, and so forth, there's no mention of the Palestinian Arabs. There is a mention of the refugee question, that's correct. There's no mention of the Palestinian Arabs in Israel. People want to just drag in the kitchen sink because it's not really about them. I mean, we have to be honest. And I loathe the disingenuousness. They don't want Israel. They think they're being very clever. They call it their three tier. We want the end of the occupation, we want the right of return, and we want equal rights for Arabs in Israel. And they think they're very clever because they know the result of implementing all three is what? What's the result? You know and I know. What's the result?
I think we don't.
There's no Israel.
I think
No.
but I think the result is like there's no Israel the way Israel is now.
There is no Israel, full stop. And the law is, Israel is a state, it has its defined borders, and if you want to eliminate Israel, that's your right. But I don't think you're going to reach anybody. I think it's a non-starter. If you say you want to enforce the law, and in fact impose it on Israel, because they're not going to be accepted, then the law is clear. And you have to say, and you'll never hear the Solidarity Movement say, 2 states. Go look at the UN General Assembly resolution. It always begins, peaceful settlement of the Palestine question. The last part, where they lay out the terms for resolving the conflict, they say a 2-state settlement, and then they say East Jerusalem, West Bank, Gaza, occupied Palestinian territories, settlements are illegal under international law, and a just resolution of the refugee question based on the right of return. But it's all within that framework. And if you don't want the framework, then stop talking about the law. And stop trying to be so clever. Because you're only clever in your cult. The moment you step out, you have to deal with Israeli propaganda. And here, they have a case. They say, no, they're not really talking about rights. They're talking about they want to destroy Israel. And in fact, I think they're right. I think that's true. I'm not going to lie.
I don't really hear people saying, I think people are very educated on the refugee issue, and I've never heard people saying 6 million refugees.
I hear it all the time.
Okay, so
not never. I'm saying reverse. Yeah. I hear it all the time. I just spoke last night in Glasgow, and that was the first statement. What about the 6 million Palestinian refugees who want to return? That was the very first question. I hear it all the time. I hear sometimes people say, until every one of the 7 million go back, we won't accept the settlement.
Okay, but I think that's people talking on behalf, in a way, of them. I mean, talking to Palestinian refugees, some of them know there's also a compromise. Some of them would like to return.
Fine.
Some of them.
And I think Palestinians are perfectly reasonable. And I think a reasonable resolution of the conflict is possible. But when you start inflating the numbers, I don't know what you're trying to do. Do you want to resolve the conflict? Or do you want to create terror in the hearts of every Israeli? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish?